Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at a tile laying game set in the same world as the Claim trick-taking card game. This is Claim Kingdoms. In this game, the players are going to be playing square little cards as tiles to the table in a pattern in order to control those different characters and trigger special scoring powers and removal powers on those cards, trying to not just score points during the game, but at the end of the game as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this game works. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. To set up the game, you are going to pick a number of these different factions based on the number of players. So you are going to pick 7, 8, or 9 of them for 2, 3, or 4 players, respectively. You're going to shuffle them together, and you are going to give each player all of their tokens. You'll have a scoreboard as well, and everyone gets one of these reference sheets, which let you know all of the different powers in play. So, for example, you've got your goblins here, and you score 1 point for each goblin with a marker on it of your color when you play a new goblin. You've got your dwarves. They get you a point for each other dwarf in this row and column when you play this card. You've got trolls. They're going to score 1 point for each different faction in that row or that column. You've got, dragons are going to give you a point for every adjacent card. You've got, I'm just jumping around here. The knights are going to let you remove 2 markers that are adjacent to the knight when played. Doppelganger here will copy the power of someone next to you. Things like that. And so, again, you're going to pick the ones you want to use, you're going to shuffle them up, and then you'll begin playing the game proper. On each player's turn, they are going to do 3 things. So the middle one being optional. They are going to play the card in their hand adjacent to something already on the board. They are going to score that card, or trigger its power rather. That's optional. And then they are going to draw a new card, either one of these 3 face-up ones or the one from the top of the deck. So it's going to be yellow player's turn first. They're going to go ahead and play this. You have to put a marker on it. They're going to use the power on the card, which is score 1 point. For every other one of these cards, you've got your token on. So in this case, yellow gets 1 point. And then they'll draw a new one. They'll go ahead and take this one, and we reveal a new one in its place. Then the blue player will go, and they'll play next to something. They will put their token on it. They are going to use the power if they so choose. In this case, they can put a token on a card adjacent to this one. So they'll go ahead and put a token on that one as well, and then claim a new card. And the next player will go. They will play this one over here. They are going to put their token on it. The power would allow them to switch this token on this new card with another token already in play, like this, but they are going to choose not to do that, and they will take a new power. And this continues with the board growing and growing and growing until either one player is out of all of their tokens and the game ends immediately, or we've run out all of the cards in the deck, in the display, and all of our hands as well. And then we are going to do some endgame scoring. The endgame scoring is based on the different characters, on the different tribes of characters, and whoever has the most on each kind is going to get the number listed on the cards. You get that just once, not for each one you control. So say, for example, at the end of the game, I control the most, undead here. Then I am going to get 6 victory points if I control the most undead. If there's a tie, we both get it. But otherwise, it's mine if I have the most. And you add that to your score. And so that's pretty much it. A couple of the other powers, like I said, the knight here would let you remove 2 adjacent tokens, give them back to the players. The dragon, whenever you play that, you're going to get 1 victory point for each adjacent card of the ones all the way around it. So in this case, 3 points for blue. The track here does wind back and forth like so. I'll talk about that a little bit later. It's something I dislike generally in games. But that should give you an idea of how the whole thing operates. And the look is sort of hard to describe to you right now. But, it's something that's going to end up looking quite busy as we play. And imagine all of this, but also with a whole bunch of tokens on it as well. There's even the ability to put, with this character, a token on a card that already has a token, as long as it's not 2 of your own. So just to give you an idea of how this whole thing's going to look, because I'll be talking about it in just 1 second. So that's just an idea, but that's barely scratching the surface with the amount of cards we are going to be using. So let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. As you can probably tell from the overview, I had some issues with this game, a lot of them being visual issues and just sort of clarity issues in general. But before we get to that, let me go ahead and tell you what I thought did work in the game, the things I liked. I like the game length. I think the game does not outstay its welcome. Having the 2 endgame conditions works, though they run out at about the same time normally. But that's a nice way to do it. And then I liked the ease of play. Again, visual problems notwithstanding, the game is extremely easy to get into. The powers are, fairly easy to explain, to understand, and then everybody also gets one of those player aids. So that's nice. Play a card, little power, draw a card, that's it. And I even had players who thought at first, man, I wish that I had a larger hand than one single card. I suspected that at first when I first played it, but you know what? I think having a single card in your hand is the way to go. It keeps the game from getting bogged down. You play that one card, and then just figure out what you want to do next time. That's where your choice comes in from those 3 face up, or you can just take a top one and maybe get exactly what you wanted, So I think that works. Things I did not like as much. The theme is just another one of those bunch of fantasy races going at it. Think like Small World Junior, kind of vibe here. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. Replayability is all right. You do get 10 character sets. You're using at most 9, so there is that. But I would say that some of the character sets are simply better than others. They're more interesting, but also they feel like not only will they give you a better power for playing them, but more victory points for keeping them at the end. And the dragons, for example, are great. Some of the other characters, like the little goblin, I think it is, he's just not that interesting. It's 4 points, and you get 1 point per goblin. I think I'm mentioning the right one. Excuse me if it's the wrong creature. But that just seems uninteresting and a little underpowered. So there's that as far as replayability. Excuse me. And then lastly, tactics. I'll say that tactics are all right. There are moments for clever play, but they become obscured as the game goes on because they're simply going to be harder to see on the board. But again, reacting to what your opponents are doing, removing a key piece from what they're going for, that can be fun, and it's certainly available in the game. So the main thing I did not like, as I am alluding to, is the aesthetics, okay? The artwork in this game is fine. I really like this artist's style, in fact. I just don't think it works for this game. Using this artwork for tiles, tiny tiles, that you then stick a token on, and then the board grows beyond the point where the players are able to keep a visual, account of what's going on. The color choices. There are a couple of choices in there that are very similar to one another, though the creatures are different. The whole thing gets to a point, I want to say about 1/3 of the way in, maybe halfway in, where you can either slow the game down to a grind in order to actually do the math and see if you are making a smart move in which you may wrest away control of something from someone else, or you don't do that. You play the game, you keep it moving, but you are kind of gut feeling it out, whether, okay, I think if I take away a giant from you, I might have him, so I'm not going to slow this game down. I'm going to do that. And so you end up having at the end of the game someone who had, 4 giants and everybody else had 1. They probably wouldn't have done that if they could have clearly seen the board, But it becomes extremely difficult to do so. And if you want to take the trouble and the time, you're going to destroy the gameplay experience anyway. So unfortunately, I think the look of this game and having no ability to track how many of each kind of creature you're controlling just wrecks the length, that the amount of stuff going on the board is going to wreck the fun here a little bit. You know, you're feeling like you're playing by, you're just sort of hoping to see what's going on later on, or again, the inverse of that isn't really going to lead to a fun play experience. So overall, I think this is a cute design. I like them using the claim theme and the artwork. Though again, the theme's a little generic, but I like seeing continuation of that world that got set up in the superb trick-taking game, by the way. But it just does not work for me visually. I had a real big problem with it on that front. So overall, I would say this is a pass. If maybe there was a second edition with a clearer ability to keep track of what's going on, or maybe just some visual clarity, then I would perhaps recommend that version. But as it is right now, I just can't really bring myself to say this is one you should pick up. So there you go. That is Claim Kingdoms. Thanks for checking this out with me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.